Welcome to episode 8 of the official Arbroath podcast. The usual suspects are here. To my right, Jamie. How are we doing, Jamie?
Fantastic this week, mate.
Good show. And of course, the voice of reason, Fermer. How are you?
Fantastic.
The VOR.
Fit, tanned and handsome?
I'm certainly handsome anyway. I'm not so fit, but
good holiday?
Back for holiday, yeah, great holiday. Missed the fit birth though.
Jeez.
Missed the fit
Come with that, mate.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Of
Stand
course,
in the corner.
King of the Yockey, Sootz.
How you doing, guys? Good to be here.
Good to have you here.
Nice to see you, Sootz.
Get to hear a little bit more about what you've been up to as we move through this. We always do a little roundup of the football games. It's been a while because of the holidays, so we're rattling back to the 12th of November, the Cove game. A bit of a sickener for me with that last minute equaliser, but it's the run of luck we're getting just now.
I think so. Obviously, I didn't see it because I was going to. I think you were the only person in the room that was actually at the game, JB. So
he's the expert on this one.
You're the expert this week,
you, JB.
It was 1-1 and it was called.
I listened to it and I was getting reports from my pals and that, like, difficult to see how we're going to go. I'm not too sure what else you can say. Dick's interview was quite good. So that's it, go for it.
But it sums up the season so far, doesn't it? Just getting stolen at the end. No luck.
Yeah, it's
we're not getting any breaks. We might not deserve it, but we're just not getting any breaks.
We might not deserve it, but it's no. I mean, I 100% agree with Dick. Because that we're selling a wee bit at the tail end. We let them come at us. We keep saying week in, week out, do not sit back. At 1-0, you cannot afford to sit back, and that's just pro.
We did.
Yeah.
And it let them get back into it. At least said about the next game, the better. Away to Partick. First half was okay. Second half kind of imploded a wee bit, but 3-0. I didn't want to go into it that much, to be honest. But have you got anything from your intel?
No, I think it wasn't a good performance. I heard we were pretty poor, but. Although we're saying we were pretty poor, we're not saying anything wrong. I mean, you can hear an off game.
Absolutely, that's what happened. We've had a couple of games, and that was one of them. So it's
and I don't think it's a tough place to get down there. Partick's no mugs. I mean, they've signed a lot of players. I mean, a lot of the players they've got we wanted.
Well, I would say them and Dundee were probably favourites at the start of the season for winning the league.
Okay.
Partick was your favourite, I think you came out and said that.
They're a good team. Yeah. It's a bra place to go and watch a game of football. It's a great wee stadium. You like it?
The stadium's a bit too run down for my liking, if I'm honest. I like the pub before we go to the stadium, but the stadium itself, I can take it or leave it.
I quite like it. I think I think far you sit in the stadium's quite nice. You're up in that corner looking down there. I like it. It's an old fashioned. I wouldn't say it's run down. I think it's an older.
JB's got standards still.
He's used to sitting there for the viewers and listeners that don't care. JB's used to sitting in the soft seats who are there.
The prawn sandwiches are no very good though.
In fairness, it's not run down compared to the place we were the following week, up in Fraserburgh.
Calm down, dude. Calm down. That's up north.
That's your neighbourhood.
That is the coldest place I've ever watched a football game in my life, and I think I've forgotten how good it is to go out there and just sit for 45 minutes and go and get a cup of tea and stuff like that. In there, it was like being at McDonald Park.
You see what he does?
Prawn sandwich.
He's hit the mix with the pot.
I sit in the same seat, so I know this. I know the score, JB.
You're in there from 2:30 until the back of 5. It was Baltic. I probably owe Fraserburgh an apology as well. I thought we were going to roll them over, and they were actually a good team.
So that's 2 apologies because you said it's a shithole as well.
Never said it was that. I don't use that language. But I would say they had 3 great chances in the first probably 10 minutes. Could have been 3-0 up. Cleared one off the line. Had one disallowed. Once we'd weathered the storm and Bobby scored. It's always Bobby, but Bobby scored. It kinda just let us take over. But they were no mugs at all.
I don't think any of that teams. I came out. We're in the championship. There's a big gulf of difference. But remember, when they're playing teams like Arbroath, that's their cup final. That's us playing Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, Hibs, whatever.
Always happens, does it?
I heard. I've not even. Obviously, you can't speak to Bobby. I've not heard it. I got told on the grapevine that Bobby should have had 4.
Yep, missed 2 borderline sitters, I would say.
But again, we've up here. We've done the business.
That's all that matters. It's a win,
and that's it, isn't it?
Confidence boost.
Let's earn this Motherwell, I think, is it?
Motherwell in January, is it 21st?
And they'll know like coming up here.
No, and we'll be a
January.
different team, I think, by then as well, perhaps.
Well, we could maybe touch on that later on. Like, it's
Well, in all those games, the defence has been settled as well. There's not been chopping and changing injuries. So that's pretty cool for our
It's good to see Tam getting back in and getting a run rather than injured or sent off or whatever. So he's starting to just come back into his own again for me. That brings us to Morton. I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that was there. No, it doesn't include anybody here, but.
You're on fire tonight, just as well Sootz is here.
Oakley was absolutely immense from start to finish. He was really, really good.
He's had so much good games playing for us.
He has.
I've heard one or two folks saying that they've seen him after we'd been raving about him. They didn't think he was that good, but he really has. He set the heather on fire for me. Like he's brilliant. Another thing there. Mind when he was on the podcast, he was telling us he was quite pally with Jude Bellingham.
Another one that's ripping it up.
And he's doing great across the road.
Did you see the exclusive actually in the Courier about Marcel being pally with Jude Bellingham?
Is that the Ewan Smith exclusive?
The Ewan Smith exclusive.
Ewan Smith exclusive.
Aye, that
boy
probably
does some
sounds.
amount of work.
Aye, Ewan Smith, he covers a lot of ground.
He's just got to watch YouTube basically.
He does that, or listen to us.
Pretty much.
Two questions on the back of Morton, probably. One, it's been bugging me for a while, I've never brought it up. Fosu, now he had a good game as well when he came on, but he always, well not I say always, he sometimes wears this bandage on his hand. And I kind of get that.
No.
Behave.
No.
Honestly, I'm not sure if it's an injury, if he's a member of the Keith Lemon fan club. I didn't can.
Listen.
He'll not give what Keith Lemon
But
is.
sometimes he has it on, sometimes he doesn't. Does anybody know why he's wearing this? I need to ask him the next time I see him, because he wears this bandage on his hand.
I don't know, but it could be something as simple as covering a ring or a bracelet or something.
That's what I mean,
It could be like. It could actually hear say Arab.
But he only wears it sometimes.
They just maybe only say her sometimes.
Maybe.
I was just going to ask Alan before we're going to go. You've not seen much games because you've been away doing other things.
Yeah.
What have you been doing like?
Nah, you know.
No, we'll get to that later.
Firefighting.
Do you get a chance to watch the highlights? Or,
Yeah, I normally watch the highlights or obviously follow it on Flash Score and that, but if I'm playing darts then I don't get it until later on, maybe watch it at night on social media, just see Scotty Strachan, listen to his dulcet tones and watch the highlights.
You can just imagine that in Flash Score if it gets interrupted. Alan, you require 2-1 Arbroath.
Just on that, I'll give him a wee shout out. It's Scotty's birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday, Scotty. I know you'll probably not see this till Thursday, Friday, but I hope you had a great birthday, mate.
Happy birthday, Scott Strachan.
Happy birthday, Scott, and you'll get a mention in your rant later.
Aye, Piff. Happy 60th.
Saying like about him live on air.
One of the things that struck me in the Morton game, and to be fair, I think it happened in the Fraserburgh game as well, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's twice in a row now Scotty Allen's been subbed. And I'm not sure if we're getting the best out of him. I'm not saying he's not a brilliant player, but I don't feel we're maybe getting the best out of him just yet. I don't know if it's formation, if he's a wee bit ahead of us, if it's a different style of play than what he's used to. What do you think, Fermer?
Well, okay. Caught on the hop there, like. Scott Allen's one of the. I suppose I'll start by saying, in my opinion, Scott Allen's a luxury player. Now that's no criticism of Scott Allen or Dick for signing him, but Scott's one of the players. I think for an Arbroath fan, it's difficult to know where to play him because we're used to having players at digs. So he's replacing guys like Nicky Lowe, James Cragen. To be fair, even Scotty Stewart. It's off that just now. And Scott Allen's not that type of player, and I'm sure he'll be the first to tell you. I mean, what he is, it's amazing that he plays football full stop anyway.
Yeah.
With his diabetes and his heart condition. So we're not expecting him to go in there and be a stopper like James Cragen. He's not going to take your man out.
I agree.
So getting him to fit into a team like Arbroath is always going to be difficult. So that's one thing. But what we need him in there for is when we are looking for somebody to put their foot in the bar and find that pass. Now we might not get that at this moment in time because but we're battling, we're in a right dogfight, you get what I mean? He's not going to get time for that, and I'm not sure you get the same amount of time on the ball in this division. You guys might think different. I mean, Alan, you watch a bit of SPL. Granted, it's Rangers, so it's not going to be that good.
He's right in there, isn't he? I agree with the Scott Allen thing about him being a bit of a luxury player, but you can see the difference. He is a different class.
Yeah. There's no denying his skills.
But he's not a Nicky Lowe fighting for the ball and breaking up the play. Definitely not.
That's right. And I think that perhaps what we've got to do, or I'm saying we're Dick and Pink. Now they'll care what they're doing. They've not gotten us to far we are without caring what we're doing. But we have a lot of midfielders, and perhaps they're trying to find their best midfielding. I mean, you look at Gareth Southgate. He doesn't care what his best team for England is, although he's doing quite well now. So he's got a lot of quality players. It's saying in mind Lampard and what's his name?
Gerrard.
They couldn't have played in the same team.
They
couldn't have fit them together. Now Dick's maybe got that same issue here with them, and he doesn't care. And some weeks we're thinking, and that's another thing I'm going to on with Scott Allen and possibly even Dylan Tate. They guys, we're no seeing what Dick and Pink's seeing and how that other teams are forming up against us.
Absolutely.
And they're coming at it. I mean, I think a great example of that was Korea. And I think the commentator said it last night for Brazil-Korea. I mean, Korea obviously didn't watch any of Brazil's games. I mean, they lined up there last night like a primary school team. I mean,
McCoy's was losing his marbles.
You can't blame him. I'm sitting here getting myself what's on. So I think we're not seeing they can. The players we're going to be playing in week in, week out. We're sitting in the touchlines and we're allowed, I thought, because we care our team, but we're not caring what's coming up against us. And Dick and Pink does and sees that. So I'm going to stick up for Dick and Pink there. I'm going to stick up for Scott Allen. I'm not saying it's working for Scott Allen, and possibly even Dylan Tate. I watched Dylan Tate when he was with Wraith on loan, and I thought he was just fantastic. And when we signed him this year, I'm thinking, just fantastic. But I think if we get a striker that can do something like that, that's when you'll see Scott Allen coming in.
That's what I'm hoping, isn't it? I think that's the thing.
Scott Allen.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's right. But also, just remember, Scott Allen's coming in there. Now, round about it last year, we had different type players. Marcel Oakley, we were speaking about him before the game, fantastic player. So he's doing a wee jobby there.
Right.
Now, he's replaced Jason Thompson. We've got Scott Stewart sitting on the sidelines. So that's another midfielder going to come in. So there are different lads, and then some of our guys is playing a different type of football. And also, Scott Allen, he's so gifted, and you can argue with me if you like, boys that's listening, the person that's listening. Scott Allen will see a pass that players win it.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. So where he sits, I think, is right in the middle of that field, maybe just behind the centre forward. You can near number 10 role, but just in there to look and put his fitting bar. But don't expect him to run about like Nicky Lowe.
That's going to happen.
But that's why you always have a midfielder that digs in, a Roy Keane, or like England's he gets a lot of garbage.
Jordan, an enforcer
Jordan Henderson gets a lot of garbage, but they play better with him in the side. An unsung hero that just digs in and allows these luxury players to do their thing,
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to hate to. We're going to hate to accept that.
Yeah.
You'll get your shot in a wee minute, Alan. Don't worry, but we have to accept that.
But
there's no point in us standing on the sideline shouting and screaming. Because that's no doing nobody any good. You can. I look after a lot of people in part of my job, and shouting and screaming at them does not work. These days are going to be fear and whatever else. Does not work. Let the man play his game. Fine thing. But Dick and Pink's also got to take a responsibility to play him, not necessarily for the start of every game. You can. They need to.
Well, as I say, find somebody to partner up with him and allows him to play.
Exactly.
He does have the skills to bring it to the game.
Absolutely. The man, I mean, what's he, 30, 31 years old?
Something like that.
I mean, he's not going to run about in the middle of the pitch. But he's not going to he doesn't get a lot of yellow cards in his career. Because he's not that type of player.
Could you go a couple of octaves higher? There's a couple of dolphins out there.
I've been on holiday.
Just when you're saying about Dick and Pink, there was the Q&A.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think Pink alluded to the fact that they're not going to mention names or anything like that, but I think they've got their eye on a couple of strikers for the January window. I'm sure they've got eyes on a few other players for the January window as well. So that could all come good. I still think we're not where we want to be, but we're not that far adrift from anybody that two or three games doesn't bring us back.
2 or 3 wins and we're right up
back into it.
We're net, what, 17 points or something? 13 points, I think.
Five behind goal.
Aye, 13 points and played 17 or something. It gets mixed up. Yeah, listen, we're not far we want to be. We certainly didn't want to be at this position.
I know that.
But I think we can do it. There's so much touch. Okay, I haven't seen the last two or three games, but there's so much good being happening in games. But the problem is we need to take all the good at each game to make 90 minutes.
That's it.
But yeah, you hear Dick saying it every week. We're not going to do what we did last year.
No. I don't really think anybody expects that either. I know you still get folk shouting, but realistically, that was never going to happen.
There's plenty of bomb pots in a crowd. Every football fan's entitled to his opinion.
Oh, every ground in Scotland, Britain, you hear that, no matter, you know. Like, even when Liverpool were successful, folk were shouting abuse.
When was that?
A few years ago.
So in the 70s and the 80s, man.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's what happens, you know.
Maybe tell us England won the World Cup next.
But you get folk that are just not happy about anything. So.
Well, I mentioned World Cup though.
If you want to.
You liking it?
You know what? The first game I seen was Sunday, the Senegal game.
You see, I'm lucky because, as I keep telling you, I was on holiday.
Were you?
So did I not mention it?
No, you didn't.
And I was able to watch every game. 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting down there with my wee cup of cappuccino watching football. It was brilliant. I've enjoyed the World Cup. Really have.
I thought England had been quite impressive. They had one bad game, but they're pretty solid. Like,
Yeah,
Some
they are.
game against France.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Mbappe's just different class. I don't know how they're
He
going
is,
to
but
stop him.
it's not just him.
I know.
That's the trouble. They might focus on him and not let some of them, Alves, Hernandez, they're not playing well.
Well, they're saying Kyle Walker will take care of Mbappe. Good luck with that.
I like his haircut.
Mbappe or Walker?
Anyway,
so who's your favourites? What's your favourite for the World Cup?
France.
I think
Hopefully.
it's France, eh?
Yeah. Hopefully France.
Yeah. Fermer?
I'll go with who I said at the very beginning of the World Cup, and I said it live on here.
What, Senegal?
Argentina.
I'll go Brazil.
I was Argentina, but Brazil are looking good, like. So I'm flipping, like, I've got to say Brazil. They were impressive last
That's
night.
okay. That's how you're not on it.
Exactly. I just jumped on the bandwagon, man. But they should have been 6 or 7 up at half time. They were.
That was just playing about the second half.
They were.
Yeah.
You got your favourite coming up though? Games under the lights, Fermer?
Oh, again, I love a game under the lights. It just, maybe not quite that. The only bad thing is it's Carl. But no, I love a game under the lights. Alan, what about you?
Yeah, I do.
Are you here for
I'm
it?
actually going to make the game on the 23rd.
Are you?
So I'm back. I'll be back from Ali Pali by then. So yeah, I'm going to make the
You'll
game for the
not be
first
back.
time.
You'll be back. You'll still be in it.
I've got duty that day.
Alright.
So
Oh,
there's
so
a
you're
wee
up
break
and
in
back.
between. Aye, so even if I get through, I'll still be back for work over Christmas. So perfect. I'll be at the game that night, 23rd.
Looking forward to it. It's a Fairland game, cup game, so
Yeah.
anything can happen. But I think we've had an okay run.
Yeah.
No reason to see it stopping there.
Quarter final.
And then Wraith and Queen's Park, the game that Sootz is coming back for,
Yeah.
and then we get the Christmas break. So we've also got a small matter of the 11th, which is the Sootz and Bobby Linday.
Oh, aye, I forgot about that.
It's the biggest thing that's happening in Arbroath for weeks. No, a couple of days.
It tells you a wee bit more about what people can expect. We don't have to worry about plugging tickets. I think it's a sellout already, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sold out.
in
So yeah, it
minutes.
was, and it went out like 3 days. I think it was. That was it done. But we've actually been here today preparing with Paul Reed. So Paul Reed puts in some graphs. I tell you, he's unbelievable for this club. But I've had him painting today, painting stage sets and all sorts. So we've got a lot of stuff going on in the background. But we're setting up Saturday, so we'll be ready. We'll be ready for the
Are you allowed to
exhibition.
say what the fans can expect, or is it sort of kind of?
It's kind of if you were there last year, but there's a lot of different tickets from. There's tickets being sold in Oban and all over different areas, Aberdeen and that. People coming in, so it's not just Arbroath people. So I think Bobby Lynn will have helped. Bobby will have helped sell tickets because he's an absolute star down here, isn't he? But I think it's a day of darts, but there's going to be a few good bits thrown in there. Bobby's going to get a few surprises as well that he doesn't know about yet. So
better not say anything.
there's got the things for
Bobby
Bobby.
doesn't listen, so it doesn't matter.
To anybody.
We're going to ask him for his 5 favourite people to go for a drink with, so that should take up most of the afternoon.
He said 3 weeks to work on that.
No, but yeah, it's going to be pretty much darts, a day of darts, but Paul's got a few things set up.
Alright,
Bullseye, the game show Bullseye is going to be involved in that,
Alright.
so different to the last one, but obviously a bit of darts, bit of fun, some interviews and
Super.
a few beverages, so it should be a good
Look forward
afternoon.
to it.
What's Bobby's game like at darts?
Well, I spoke to him last week on the phone, and he's right up. He said he was right up for it, but I think Paul Reed said he was quite nervous about it. So I think he'd be a wee bit better than Mr. Nubley. Nubley couldn't throw a dart. So I think the guys have had a board in the changing room for quite a while. So I'd be expecting Bobby to have been on that a wee bit, knowing this was coming up. But we'll see, because I know some of them, like Mikey McKinnon, that he can play.
He's a bit the same height as a bullseye, isn't he?
Double three.
Is it 5'8" or something?
We might need a stool from the darts academy for him to get his darts out the tops. I'm not exactly a giant myself, so I better stop picking on him. Bobby's a hero.
You're a aren't you?
We're me and Collins. We've got. I'm looking forward to it.
I played Fermer last year, so maybe get a game this year. We'll see how he gets on.
I fairly enjoyed it last year. It was good. I think for me, seeing the things that he's doing, and I want to blow smoke up his doubt, but I mean he's reasonably decent. And again, the fun things that he does, throwing with straws and stuff like that, you can. And I think it's a good thing for folk to get. I was speaking to a couple of folk out there with the kids, and they're coming. I never thought they'd come, so I think it's a good.
It's quite a nerve-wracking thing for me, being from Arbroath and having Arbroath people there, because they expect something more of you. I know they see what happens on TV, but an exhibition you've got to give a little bit more of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a win at all costs game of darts. It's fun and entertaining. So I do get quite nervous about them, but it's also a great thing that links me and the club and the town. So that's why I love doing it, and Paul knows that, and that's why we're doing it again. He's classing it as a send-off.
You'll be alright.
Four Moretti's will be alright. We'll be fine. They've ordered a few kegs in for Sunday, so we should be okay.
I think it's a great thing. One, you've got Bobby Lynn there, still effectively his testimonial season.
Yes.
Which is brilliant. We've got you there representing the town because you're off to Ali Pali. You're also obviously one of the ambassadors of the club. I know the three of us are all really interested to know what actually does it involve being an ambassador?
Just prawn sandwiches and comfy seat, innit? Is that the
I
only?
don't know.
No, I think Arbroath.
You get to sit next to JB.
Get to sit next to you, JB. But no, I think from Arbroath's, from the club's point of view, it was Paul Reed when he came here. He was the one that was pushing why we not got people that are doing alright in other fields involved in the club. And I think from doing that, it's even just on social media, sharing things, and then when I'm playing on TV wearing a little Arbroath pin badge on my collar, and that makes the commentators speak about Arbroath, and you know, it's often the firefighter from Arbroath, and then they talk about Arbroath Football Club, and I think it's just making that link to the club and the town makes it everybody talk about Arbroath. And I was even at an exhibition in Kirkcaldy on Sunday just there, and see the amount of people were asking where my Arbroath pin badge was.
Really?
But obviously Rafe Rovers fan, so I'm like,
Where was it?
I'm not gonna. It was hidden. It wasn't on my shirt because I knew every single Rafe Rovers fan would be all over me saying whatever. But it's just a link to the club.
In a positive
It's actually
fashion.
it's been great for me because it's made me reconnect with Arbroath, because I came here as a kid, season ticket holder as a kid, and then obviously I drifted away being in the forces. Sure. So coming back and being part of Arbroath again, we absolutely love coming here, me and Amanda. Absolutely love coming to games. It's brilliant.
We see more of her than you.
She's more of the celebrity, and the guide dogs is more her as well. So I just take all the credit for it on TV, but it's all Amanda. It's always Amanda in the background.
The guide dog there, obviously, you know, we all know you anyway, and we can see on social media the brilliant stuff that you do with that. But this was just moved on. Is that quite? Well, that's basically. Is that quite an emotional thing?
Yeah, of course it is. I think she was with us for 455 days, so it's not just a few weeks or a few months. It's a fair chunk of time you've got them, and then you take them from a 6-week-old puppy into the dog that she's became, and then that's her ready to be into training and guide dog. So that morning was actually pretty sad because I was on day shift. So I was up at 6 in the morning, showered, changed, and away to work, sort of like see you later disco, and I was away. But Amanda was there for the handover, guide dogs come and pick them up.
So it's probably worse for her.
It's a lot worse being at the house, but I was just away to work. But the ring doorbell went, and I was looking at my ring doorbell on my watch like, oh, that's disco going. And you can see her going down the path with the guide dogs instructor, and it's horrible for a couple of days. And that's the one question that everyone asks me and Amanda all the time is, I couldn't do it, or how can you do it, how can you give them back, sort of thing. But we know that they're not our dog. They're never our dog until they don't pass as a guide dog. Then you get the option to keep them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
right.
Well, you get the option to buy them off guide dogs for a nominal sort of fee. That's why we have Tasha. She was the third guide dog, failed or didn't pass, sorry, so we just kept her. But you're hoping they pass, you know. We're hoping. Disco was a really good dog, really good at everything that she needed to do, so I think she'll pass. She'll become either a guide dog or some other kind of assistance dog.
What's
Do
the...
you, do you have to start their training? And I know you start the basic commands, but do you have to start their training regarding whether they're going to be assistance dog and hearing or?
I know that's not our call at all. It's called socialising the dogs, you know, and that's what we do. We just get them from the level of a puppy to where guide dogs need them to be, as in how obedient they are and how sort of you're taking them on a journey right through to get ready for training. Training's the important bit. That's when they start guide dog stuff. So now when she's at Forfar from last week, that's her doing training. Whereas we just learn her, mostly Amanda learns her how to do all the commands, all the words, and it's like the dogs. A lot of people's dogs jump up, but like the guide dogs is a massive no. So it's just even watching our instructor just knocking the dog down every time they jump, and it becomes a point where you just do it yourself. You automatically make sure the dog doesn't do any of the things it's not meant to do. Being on the sofa, being on beds, being up the stairs, it's a massive no. So you're just making sure the dog's ready to go into training. It's a lot. It's like take them on a train, take them on the bus, all that kind of stuff. There's loads. Before we done it, we didn't have a clue about any of it. You know, we weren't engaged with guide dogs at all. We just went and done it on a total whim, and it was great. And we done it. Even like the fact of standing at traffic lights, you put your hand underneath the traffic light once you press the button. There's a wee cone that spins round and round. That's obviously for blind people, so they know when it's green to cross the road. So I never knew that until. So we nowadays, when I'm at a traffic light, I'll stop and make sure it's working or it's there, just because it's something that we know is there. So it's quite a good thing. Even like the drop curbs, all the different lines and dots and things, what they're for and things like that. So we've learnt a lot in the last 5 years doing it, but it's.
So how many dogs have you done?
She's number 5.
Right.
So.
And how long do you wait for the next one? Do you dive back in or?
You normally do, but we've got a little. Amanda's coming to Ali Pali, so it's actually worked in fine. So Amanda's going to come to London next week and enjoy like a break, because she does the dogs all the time. So 3rd of January we're getting another dog. Who hopefully Logan doesn't watch this because it's a secret. Well, it's a surprise for him. But yeah. He's going to be away in Australia anyway. So yeah, we're getting another one. Normally
say we could edit that out, but it's JB and it'll know what. Jamie and it'll know.
Thanks very much.
That's good. But it's all good. That's, I think, guide dog number 6.
So Amanda's going to hit up with you and Smith.
Well, yeah. He's
she's a better woman than I ever thought.
He's coming to London. Amanda might get involved in the. It's a diary. The courier are looking to do the diary thing again, like they did last year. That was quite well received and it got quite a lot of views. So I think
he's doing his interview with you as we speak. To be honest, he watches this. He's taking notes. See, when you said it was on a whim, were you just in the house one night and one of you went, fancy a guide dog?
Kind of. We were just talking about maybe getting a dog. That was where we were just talking about it, just casually, nothing serious. And then Facebook. So another question away, Fermer. Just because we've seen an advert on Facebook, they were looking for puppy raisers. We thought, do you want to go and have a look at that and see what like? And it's only Forfar, isn't it? So we took a drive through to the open day at Forfar, and then that's when they released the puppies and let all the little dogs come running about, and you go, okay, well, not that kind of releasing the puppies fun.
Watch me away.
It's a family show. But yeah, so it was just off a total, let's go have a look and see, and then we were signed up straight away.
That was it?
Pretty much.
I great respect for that. Guide dogs is
It's brilliant.
Personally, a mine. I sponsor. It's funny when you said that. I'm now in my 5th guide dog. I just got the new one through the day. I think she's called Albus or Alba.
The names are crazy, and we don't get any say in that. The litter gets named with the letter A or the letter Q or whatever. D, Disco. But then some dogs are sponsored. So Disco was actually an offshore company in Aberdeen named her. So they paid the money to sponsor the dog, and she was named after a dive support vessel offshore. It's called the Discoverer, and all the crew call it the Disco.
So it was nothing to do with your walk-on song.
Nothing to do with Disco Inferno, no. But do you know what? What a mad link that we got her at the same time as the last time I was on you guys' podcast, and you came up with the Disco Inferno, and then we got her, and she was called Disco. Mad.
Amazing.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Also, you've risen around about 90 places in the ranking since we first had you on, which is mental. From your point of view, how's it felt over that? I mean, we'll talk about Kazoo and all the rest of it, but it's fairly meteoric, would you say, over the last
yeah, I think so. But I think a lot of times I get asked questions about where have you came from, sort of thing. It's like I've not just started playing darts.
You're not Joe.
No, but I've not just started playing darts. I've played darts for 30 odd years, so I didn't expect to go on the rise that I have, but I was a bit confident that I could do something. But yeah, I think the Grand Slam a couple of weeks ago got me to jump even more places, and where I am in the rankings now, it's hard to close the gap on the person above. Never mind 4 or 5 places. Like I'm 36th, and 32nd is 14 grand above.
There's
It's
big
massive.
jumps now.
So I think if you can do a run like the Grand Slam and that picks up a big ranking money, then Ali Pali last year again put me up like 19 places. So that's the whole. You want to do well in the big TV majors. That's where you need to be at your best, or at least have a bit of luck.
And you've played these guys before, though, haven't you?
Yeah,
like in your career before.
Yeah, over the length of time, like Dave Chisnell and that. I've known Dave for like 20 years, but obviously he went to PDC yonks ago. Johnny Clayton, they went a while ago. I've only just went the last couple of years, but yeah, I know pretty much all of them. Unless they're a young up and coming star, I've probably played pretty much everybody.
Do you think that you could have been further up the rankings if you'd went full time, Alan?
Oh, good question. Good question, Phil.
Good question, Phil.
That wasn't written down, was it? Was that written down, that? You just make that up?
He stole that off me.
I tell you, I'm flying here.
I think actually we were talking to Paul Reed today about this, because Paul Reed he sort of blows smoke up my butt quite a bit, and he was like, he compares me to Arbroath, because Arbroath's part time and I'm part time at darts. He says, so we're
some folks say you're a part time firefighter.
Well, the way it's went the last 2 years, I am a part time firefighter. Just ask the boys that I swap all the time. But I think I'm still as good as I am. And I think if I practiced more or I put more time in it, I don't know how much better you would get. I think clearly if you put in more time, you'll get more rewards. But I think it's all about timing. And having my job's still quite important for me. I think that's quite an important thing. And I quite like the link to everything that we're doing. Yeah, it's busy and it's been quite a mad 2 years, but I like the stability of having a job. Because if I was just playing darts and I went to an event and won nothing, then where do we get the wages from? Where do we pay the bills from? So that's a lot of pressure. I think let's see what happens over the next year, 2 years. And I'm not planning. I don't have a 5-year plan or even a 3-year plan. We're just taking it a year at a time and see how it goes. But I think to be a full-time dart, there's a lot of them are full-time, but the best thing in the world is when they're full-time and you go and beat them and take their money off them, and you just think, well, I just do this as a part-time hobby.
And the top sportsmen, the more you're at the sort of the hot sort of atmosphere and under pressure, that's where you start to make that step up, isn't it?
I think so. I think the Grand Slam was
practicing's great, but you need to be in there.
I've been practicing this afternoon for 3-4 hours with you and Calendar, my practice partner, but it's just practice in the house, like you say. But excuse me, the Grand Slam was, because it's group stages, there was the 3 games in the groups. I felt really comfortable on the stage, and that's when I started thinking to myself, do you know what, I can do alright here, because I'm not bothered that I'm playing Peter Wright, and I'm not bothered that I'm playing Fallon Sherrick, knowing that what people have had against her before, like Mensah and Ted Evans at Ali Pali when she won, they were getting pelters, and I get it because I wear tartan breeks and I'm Scottish, and I pin my whole world on I'm Scottish, and have a look at me. And the English crowd aren't they always great? Ali Pali, they're not always great, but when I was in Wolverhampton, the crowd weren't anti-Sootz and they weren't for Fallon. It was just they were watching the game of darts, and there wasn't so much of that animosity. Which the more you play on them stages, the more you put yourself in that cauldron, I think the better you'll get. And it's experience. I played darts for 30 odd years, but you need that experience.
It's on stage experience.
That experience, and it's also TV as well. You know, the stuff you do beforehand, the TV interviews, preparing for that, because that kind of stuff can make you nervous and throw you before you've actually got to play, and then afterwards, and all the media stuff you do after it. See, the more you do that, it just becomes it's part of it, and that's what you've got to do. So I do. That's totally spot on about being. The more you get involved in it, like Ali Pali this year should be a bit better, a bit more. I know what's happening. It's not walking in there with my eyes wide open.
Sometimes go and watch the Sky Sports Live darts getting, Aberdeen's. That's Aberdeen for all you folk who doesn't understand my lingo.
Subtitles. You're all right.
It's a radio show, man.
It's on YouTube.
Stop cutting me a tube. The darts crowds now. Do you know that you see it in the television and that? I think it looks to be less of a darts crowd now and more of a party crowd. When
it's wild. It's wild, and
Aberdeen, they were throwing you didn't want to be at the front, because if somebody does a 180 or a 9 darter or whatever, you're just absolutely covered in lager.
You see the lager going on.
Is it always lager though?
Well, that's
Well,
Usually when I'm tasting it.
I went down to Ali Pali last year to watch you, and it, honestly, it was like a cauldron, especially when and there was only maybe 4 or 5 of us, and when they're shouting the Scotland get battered, everything's a go and all that, and you could actually feel it a bit, you know. And I don't even think they mean it, and in their heads it's party, you know, they're just having a laugh.
I think so. 2 things to that. I think you get used to it, which is a weird thing to say because they're singing against you derogatory or try to put you off, but they could be singing anything. Yeah. So if you just can turn off from what it's about. Yeah. No, I felt myself one time tapping my foot on the stage, kind of going along with it. I'm like, what are you doing? Just focus on the darts. But then what you're saying about the crowds, they don't want so much a dart fan. They want, because that's quiet watching the darts into the darts. Whereas they want that, it comes across a lot better on TV with the noise and the atmosphere. And like even 9 darters, you know, Josh Rock had a 9 darter at the Grand Slam. The 2 levels of the 180, there's a noise. The second 180, there's the build, the first 2 trebles going in. That anticipation, there's 3,000 or 4,000 people going, go on, and that makes the moment. That the crowd do make the moment. But it is. I watched the England fan zone in London the other night when they scored against Senegal. So there's pints getting heaved about everywhere. So it does link back to football, and I think Ali Pali, like JB says, Ali Pali was just rammed with football fans back last year because it was nuts. It was all football songs, like the whole time.
It is. It's football songs, but some of the things. I mean, I find it quite amusing. I was watching England Wales, and I'm listening to Bucket, and I give a wee laugh. The boy was sitting beside me and says, "What are you laughing at?" I says, "You don't hear what they're singing? Are you Scotland in disguise?" That kind of stuff's good, I think.
Yeah, it's like I was practicing with Peter Wright in the back room just before I played him, and he said to me, "See if they start singing Scotland get battered, we'll just turn round and go like this." So it happened as soon as we were on the stage and it calmed down and the walk-ons were over. It started and they started singing it, and he just looked at me and went, "Right, okay," and we both turned round, just held each other and just went, we're both Scottish, even though he lives in England, he's lived in England most of his life, but we're both just going, what's that all about? So they're just singing, they're just enjoying a party. The worst thing in darts is when people whistle or boo. You know, if they start whistling it when you're on a double and that's poor. But see the singing, just let them sing. And just
for me, Wally Borland's 9 darter, I mean, that's good as well. And also, I think what makes it as good as well, the way he celebrated and did it.
Yeah, I think it's like, sometimes you think, oh, what are you doing celebrating like that? But them moments you don't realise what you're doing. Like I've got a picture, Ewan Smith actually got me a big canvas for my darts room because he was at Ali Pali all last year with me. The picture against De Souza.
He never said.
He didn't mention that. There wasn't much in the courier, was there? Wasn't much in the courier. But I've got a picture of me putting my both hands up after I beat De Souza, and I'm off the ground. Both my feet are off the ground. The cameraman just caught it perfect. But I'm actually turned away from the dartboard like that, off the deck, and you're like, I can't even remember doing that. I didn't. But it's just the emotion just takes over, and you get like, Borland running halfway across the stage. There's a bit. Damon Stanley done one a couple of years ago, and he runs a full length and he runs back, and that's what makes these moments. It's a moment.
You don't do that too often in your life. Anyway, it's whether you're a professional or not.
Aye, exactly. And 9 darters a pretty big thing, and he done it in a deciding leg to win a match at Ali Pali. Doesn't get much better.
So here's a killer question.
You did a phantom 9 darter. I just found out today.
I know. I still don't understand what happened with that because I had a bouncer or something.
Yeah, you did 120 and it bounced out, and then you finished it in 10 darts.
Aye,
and they were calling it a phantom 9 darter.
I seen it. It was shared about on Facebook and that, and didn't really get it. I was like, right, okay, but so you had perfect darts, but one of them bounced out. I get it. It's pretty. Yeah, it's
pretty cool. But it was nothing but nothing.
What's harder, in Sootz' opinion, what's harder, a 9 darter or a 147?
It's funny actually because this has just been getting kicked about social media.
Oh, gee whiz.
Because of Ronnie.
He doesn't play snooker.
Because of Ronnie O'Sullivan. We used to have a snooker table in my house when I lived in Addison Place, right enough.
Yeah,
but
you still don't play snooker.
It's unquestionably a 147. There's no ifs buts. 147 is a combination of a lot of things can go wrong. 9 darts is 9 perfect darts. A 180 sometimes can be 2 in and you just rattle off that one, so it's going in. And a hole-in-one's a bit lucky, I think. You know, you've got to need a bit of luck.
Oh, I
you hit a shot, you can land on the green 10 times out of 10, but it'll not go in the hole. You see Rory McIlroy and that doing 50 balls or 100 balls, and they don't have them, and they're the best players there's ever been. So that's definitely 147. See,
Murphy did.
I'm calling that out.
I seen you read on Twitter saying no chance.
No chance. I get he can play golf and he's obviously brilliant at snooker, but
scratch golfer.
Not a chance he had a 9 darter. I don't believe
he's good
that.
at darts, like.
I get he maybe plays it.
They're saying, they said Anderson might be the guy for the snooker. Do you know about that?
Like he plays that, but I'm not sure about his golf though.
I know somebody said he did a 147 at snooker.
He might
which
have,
I thought
but
was pretty impressive. Like
that
Gary
seems.
Who was that?
Gary Anderson.
Oh really?
I don't know. I'd need to ask.
I
I've
don't
been
know
with him
if
all
that's-
weekend there as well.
Well, he was
but
tagged in the Twitter about all that.
Right,
he
okay.
never, he never answered.
that's his wife that does it, isn't it? Same as a lot of the players. There's
Aye.
someone else doing
I
their.
doubt he
So,
did a 147.
aye, I'm dubious about that. If it's not your specific sport, you know, those guys can play darts for 30 years and not have 9 darters.
Aye.
And this is a guy that's a snooker player. He might be talented. He's obviously got good hand-eye coordination, but I doubt that.
Well,
I
John
cried.
Higgins won the World Championship in '98, I think, or something. He entered the 147 until he won the World Championship, even
There
in
you go.
practice, which is crazy.
That's crazy when
That's
the
crazy.
standard that these guys
I
are
know.
at. But
So it's hard.
Ronnie O'Sullivan was actually calling out MVG, saying he'll see him at Ali Pali because he reckoned
Aye.
the 147 was harder and blah
Aye.
blah. 9
Aye.
darters easy. So
Aye.
that's pretty cool when that darts gets a lot better press now. You know, it gets a lot
Yeah.
more time on TV and on socials and that. So it's quite cool that other sports link to it. It's good.
And I think commentators make it in every sport you're at now. Darts is well known for having some of the best commentators and,
Sid
and
McDowell was
shouts.
the boy.
Yeah.
was he?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes it as well. So you're listening to the commentators and that, and
Yeah. There's quite a few now. There's a guy Dan Dawson that's he does commentary for the PDC, but he was mostly ITV and that. But he's now becoming a Sky one as well, and he got a lot of exposure at the Grand Slam. He's really knowledgeable because he's at the Pro Tour all the time, and he knows the players, and he sort of socialises with the players, and he knows
Makes a difference.
that's a real big difference, a really good part of it. But the same as Sid Liddell there, they had the trophy, the World Championship trophy at Wolverhampton for the Grand Slam to do promo stuff
Right.
for the World, and they call it Sid. It's just called Sid. Sid's over there, and that's what they call it, and it's cool. But I was doing photos with Santa hats and all that because I'm obviously at Ali Pali, but I didn't touch the trophy. But it's a bit one of the things
Is
that
that a superstition or is that just it's a non?
just it's not yours and you've not earned it, you've not won it. But some of the players were doing it, getting photos with it and that, but I was just like, I'll get my photo with it, but I'm not touching it. Just it's you need to
Well, apart from yourself, who's your favourite to win it?
it's MVG I think at
he's
the
back,
minute.
yeah?
Well, he's won 4, maybe it's 5 of the TV. He's won everything lately, and it's one of the things that he's just going about his business, and he's not really causing any. He's not doing any of the stuff on the interviews and that, like Gezi and Peter Wright get involved in this stuff. He's just going about it. When he's jumped way up the rankings, he's number 3, but he's close to them 2 now again.
Because he had a dip the last few years, but he
Yeah,
seems to
he's
be
just
back,
sort of,
doesn't he?
I think he'll take a lot of beating, but who knows? Like Peter Wright could turn up, Gary Anderson could turn up, Gezi's always a danger, but he's not been doing much lately. So I'd be delighted to win my first round game, and then we'll see where I go from there. But
So you MVG in the final, eh?
that would be perfect. I've done a podcast last week with Tungsten Tales, and that's exactly the same thing we talked about. So Sootz v MVG.
Do you know much about Mal that you're playing?
A little
the
bit,
first
yeah. I know. I speak to Damon Hetta a lot, who's Australian, but Paul, my manager, Big Five, he sent me a big whole load of stats. We were quite into stats and about like breaking down every single dart of mine and his and your finishing percentages and that, and he sent me all this big comparison. It was kind of like a confidence booster for me. He's like, look, he can't get anywhere near you, he can't touch you, and it was all that kind of stats, but he can play, and there was a lot better draws than getting him. You know, Australia's quite good at darts. They've got quite a good pedigree behind just the top players. There's a lot of players behind that. So
Has he had that live match experience
No.
that you've now got behind
no,
you?
and he's not been at Ali Pali before. He's played at Lakeside, and he played an Australian boy, and he got beat quite comfortably off another Australian boy. But I kind of hope, that's what we were talking about before, about I've been at Ali Pali, I know what you have to do behind the scenes for Sky Sports, I know what you need to do from the PDC's point of view. I've been on the stage, I've felt the heat, the noise, the lighting, so I kind of hope I'll be alright this year, and he'll have to deal with all that. But I'm definitely not looking past him at all, because that's crazy to look past.
Amazing how big a thing that is.
Absolutely.
The media, the light and that. And you would never think about it. You think,
Yeah.
be a decent dance.
It's like what Jamie was saying before about just that. The more times you experience that, I think you become. It's not easy, but you just get more used to it.
And what's he in the world now, your first win?
He's nothing. He's not in the PDC. So he won the Oceanic Masters in Australia or over that way, but he beat a tour card holder. He beat a boy Gordon Mathers in the final. So he's beat a decent
players.
level of player to get that spot at Ali Pali. But so he came from the international qualifier side. So there's like qualifiers from Japan, China, Ukraine, all over the world. That's where he's came from. But Australia is one of the ones that you think he can play. I know.
There's no mugs in.
Yeah, there's a few in there that you would have maybe thought, that's a good one.
Fair.
But then Diego Portela last year when I drew a Brazilian boy, everyone's like, oh, brilliant, and you're like, that's not brilliant. He can play as well. So, you've got just got to be on my toes and prepare right. And I think I can go out there and beat him, and then that's you in the tournament proper for the second round.
Without looking past them, if you do get through that, and you've got Darryl Gurney after that, have you had any head-to-heads with him?
Yeah, I've played a couple of times. He beat me on TV at the Players' Championship, but I beat him on the Pro Tour, so I beat him quite comfortably. I beat him 6-2 on the Pro Tour, so that was a good one. He's one of them players that scores a lot. He's a good player, and he's obviously been Premier League, and he's won majors in the PDC, but he's ranked 24th in the world now, so there's a reason he's went from the top 8 down to that level. So he's not at his ultimate best as he used to be, so I'm on the way up. I'm kind of coming on the way up towards him, so it's a big massive game if I win. And then my quarter of the draw is actually decent from a point of view of, you're not looking at Gezi, Price and Gary and Peter and MVG, you're just looking at a certain few that are above it. James Wade's in my bit, so he's not that scary a player for me.
I'm not a big fan of his, James Wade.
I
think
strange.
Some of these guys explain. I mean, when you're watching it in the telly, you can get Gerwin. He's a player you love to hate because he rattles everybody up, but you'd love to be like him.
Aye, I think a lot of people speak about Gerwin Price the way he is on stage and that, but away from the TV, he's not like that. He's a nice lad. He's calm, quite a normal sort of dude. But
it's like a good actor. I mean, some people you say I don't like him, and it's just because of the part he plays.
Yeah, I think you, like I was saying before, you don't realise what you're doing on the stage. Sometimes you get embroiled in it, and you get a couple of guys at the exhibitions at the weekend. They were saying to me, "You need to stop making faces on TV and that." And I'm like, "What are you on about?" And I didn't realise I'm doing it, but I scour at the board and give it, and do all that kind of stuff. And he was like, "You need to stop that. Just play your darts." And I'm like, not really realising that you're doing it until you watch it back. And I think watching yourself back is quite a good thing. Watch it back.
I'm almost going to disagree. I don't think you should change anything. It's like a football player. If you try and control the person, for example, Alex Ferguson didn't try and control Cantona. He let him go. Let him do what he did because that was part of him. So if you mark faces or that's how you play in telly, it doesn't matter. If you're throwing it in that, it doesn't matter what foul thinking you behind, as we were saying, for marking a face if that's part of your game. And as you say, you didn't realise it, because if you've then got to think about, done him up that face, you're taking away your natural flow.
You're totally right with that. You're totally right with that, because I've been trying to do. I take as much advice as I can in from all the other players as well about things you should do and don't do, and do this and do that. So there is things that you can do and it just becomes natural, but like you say, that's why you're thinking about that instead of thinking about that. And that, I agree with you on that.
Any time that I find you're good at something, it's just coming so natural and doesn't come when you're up there and you're throwing your dart, you're not thinking it.
Yeah, if you've got to work at it,
so you think Neymar falls over in Tesco's at a time?
I would imagine he does. I think he does.
I'm thinking Neymar doesn't get to Tesco. I mean, if you flee your hairdresser here for forever it was it Brian he flew his hairdresser here? He flew somebody out to dye his hair blonde, you'll hear that problem.
What's a hairdresser?
No, he sends his hair to the guy.
See, on the flip side to the darts thing there, is there it's not about, I know you're saying like, MVG or whoever it is, don't change the way they play, but as an opponent, if you're playing somebody that throws really, really fast, is there not a bit of gamesmanship where you automatically
there's a lot of that, and you'll see it happening. There's take your darts out of the board slowly, or you just address the okie slowly, or you go for a drink of water. That's a good one. If you've just won a leg and broke someone, you go get your darts out, go back, go to your table and take a drink and just make them stand there that extra couple of seconds. Just
Gary Anderson, you just step on the stage.
No,
as you walk back,
or just push the player you're playing, or that's like the carpet. You see the carpet at the back of the hockey. You're not allowed in that. That's the encroachment zone. So the different colour of carpet, you're meant to stay out of that. But MVG's in that all the time. Gary gets in it, and it causes a lot of trouble. And if you come too tight to somebody, it causes a bit of grief and that. But
and yet when you played in pubs, that's what it was all your time, like you were picked up behind you.
Yeah, and I think it's like people saying, he shouted or he whistled, and that. It's a pub sport where there's jukeboxes and bandits and pool tables and singing or whatever. But I get any little thing that you can blame is going to come out in it when you get beat or you're getting beat. It just comes out.
Is that you pros ever played cricket together?
You play all the time.
Yeah.
Play you do loads of practice games and that against each other. Different things.
Bit of colour.
Can't confirm that.
Bound in.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff goes on. Even before an event, you'll practice together and do different things. Just playing. A lot of the European boys do.
Summon though, don't you?
You need a bit of summon, but we
used to play for a nippy. Skype pub, it was a nippy. We had
I see it's professional now, so there's no drinking involved.
That was part of my question I was want to be asking you. That's what I was want to be asking you. Sorry, I've got a lot of questions in darts because it's a subject close to us. How much is your, because you've been playing it for a lot of years, Alan, now Mace Folk played darts and it's a well-known thing, obviously I play better than him. But how big a thing was it for you? I mean, we can use Jockey Wilson as a perfect example.
Yeah.
How big a thing was it for you not to have drink when you were playing?
So hopefully PDC don't watch this. Nah, but it's still involved, isn't it? It's just not at the front of the stage. It's just not on stage. It's not in everyone. So Pro Tour, nobody sees it. It's behind closed doors, and everyone's having their lubrication before the play. So and even on TV events, it's exactly the same. You're just away from the TV cameras because they're trying to make it more professional. And I think it works. That looks good. If you're having a bottle of water on the stage, it's great. But behind so you're there 3 hours before. That's most players kind of look to go 3 hours before. Get your arm in and get your arm in.
What's your sweet spot in terms of, is there a certain?
Just don't go mad. I don't need to have loads. So 4, 5
liters,
big ones, and maybe a 1 wee short one before going, just to get you that sort of calm. But you need. Some players don't.
You got to put the brakes on though, don't you? Because that sweet spot soon closes.
Yeah, and it changes pretty quick. So you've got to just be aware.
There's a tipping point.
The tip. But you're right, because you can take it too far. And I think the first time you play in something like Ali Pali, you're a bit more anxious. You're a bit more nervous, and you can go too far the wrong way. So you've just got. But the water on stage helps, because you can nail a quick water just to get. But yes, obviously. Old number 7 Tennessee does me alright sometimes.
That's like Alex Higgins at the snooker sitting with his fresh orange at the table.
Yeah.
Aye, right.
I think it's funny actually, because there's clips you can watch Jockey Wilson United Bristol coming out carrying a pint and a fag, smoking away, and they're putting it down and they're lighting each other's fags and that, and you're like, wow, because it's so far removed from that now, because it's so professional. And think about the sponsors, the sponsors all over the stage, like the back in here, they don't want to see that under. They're not wanting to put money into these events, and especially like big companies like Kazoo and that now, it's all to do with cars and motoring and driving. They don't want to be linked to drinking, do they? So I get it, but then that's where darts comes from. That's where darts is.
Pub sport, like
it's a pub sport. It's the same thing, but when you watch the Moscone Cup and things like that, it's huge, and it's an amazing event. But obviously behind the scenes, that's where it is. That's where it comes from. So I like that it's still like that, and it's not totally sterile and changed. It's still, you still need that, and it's good that it's behind the scenes.
This might sound a ridiculous question, but I need to ask.
It's from you, it's not from Fermer, so it's
really interesting.
I thought my questions would be good tonight.
You're on it because of that.
I have been on it. Do you, and if it's a no for you, does anybody else on the tour that you know of insure your hands? Because they're your living.
I don't, obviously, but I'm only a wee player. I still see myself as a low level player, but I'm not sure.
It's the job you do.
Like, but I'm obviously insured from that side of things for my firefighting job, but I wouldn't imagine any of them are. I don't think so. Maybe the very top, but like Gezi Price.
I'm like you. I think if you were a professional, it's like if you're a mechanic.
He's sitting there.
Like, you get what I mean.
Heartless for Fermer.
If your income is derived from that, so that's what I'm classing as professional.
I get that. I think it'd be daft for guys to go on holiday and go skiing and things like that. No, go now before the Worlds. Go on a skiing holiday or something. You get injured, you hurt your arm, you hurt your hand. You're not going to be in the Worlds. So I get that side of it. But I would, even the top guys, Gezi Price is world number 1, and he works. So he's got his own business doing property, and he actually works, so he does a bit of graft in there, so you'd imagine he's not insured at that level, but it's not really something people talk about. It's probably a good question.
Can you find out for us?
Spoonie,
when you're down there, could you just do the old hand insurance question for us?
That'll be a 3-page supplement.
No, but it's not something I've ever came across yet, but I'll find out for you, JB.
That would be
I'll get back to you.
Interested in that.
I think it's a great question, actually. It's the best question you've asked that night.
Thank you.
I remember Rory McIlroy broke his ankle or something and missed about 3 majors.
Yeah, so imagine.
What do you do? Do you not have fun, or wrap yourself in cotton wool? It's a fine balance.
But it's like football players now. There's no going to tutties for 3 pints before a game, is there? It's all health and diet.
Maybe Bobby Lynn, because he's going to tell you what's going with him.
He's got one boy coming with him.
I've got a question for Bobby Lynn.
Ooh.
I've got
From
one
Bobby Lynn.
From Bobby
I've got
Lynn.
one from Bobby as well, actually.
Oh well,
I've got
okay.
one from
Do you
Bobby
do
Lynn.
yours
This
first?
could be a bit of sledging ahead
my
of Sunday.
question for Bobby Lynn is, what is your best moment watching Arbroath? And I'm going to get a supplement question on that. He says, if it doesn't involve him, he's going to rip me a new ass on Sunday.
Right, okay, so
No, actually, all serious, he says, what's been your best moment watching Arbroath Football Club? And I think he's kind of hoping, the way he was phrasing it when I was speaking to him, that it's not just something like that day we won the league. He's just looking
no, I think like I've got a really good one for that. When I was a youngster, so Danny McGrain's time here was class, and all my older cousins and that were all part of the Bearded Army. They were the sort of guys that were all the focal points. But I used to go to like Selkirk for away games and that, and being on the bus, boys playing bagpipes and all that stuff. That's what I loved about going away games. You know what an away game is. They were great when I was a youngster, but so now I'm older and you can enjoy an away game a wee bit differently. But I think recent history last season was obviously quite massive for the whole town. Not even people that weren't even football fans weren't even really bothered about Arbroath or Gayfield or anything. Everyone started getting pulled into last year, and I think that's quite a cool thing. But his free kick a few weeks ago, what was that, about a month ago now, and that I was here for that. It was an absolute screamer, and that kind of, so just so he doesn't pick on me on Sunday.
There you go, Bobby.
That the old travelling, you know, travelling away and going to away games, but even coming here to cup games when they're playing Celtic or Dun United, and that was great down here, packed into Gayfield.
What about you, JB? We'll just ask you that as well, and you, Jamie. So I'm coming down you now.
Big question.
My best moment?
Yeah.
Mine is a long time ago. I remember Celtic here in 1976, and I was a wee bairn, and I was standing behind, and it was Lynch, the left back, and I couldn't believe that I was standing, and that's just stuck in my brain my whole life, because I was like, it's a Celtic player, and I'm standing, you know, and there was no advertising hoardings around, and I was with my dad under the fence, and you're like, I'm standing right next to him. I just stuck in my
I
head.
remember like this the celebration from the 36-0, the 100 years of it, and kicking footballs into the crowd and that, and it was done. Sure, it was done right to play. Just to be involved in big parts of the club when you were young. I think being a youngster,
it was just amazing.
You probably got fonder memories of stuff when you were younger than you do in the moment.
Well, you see
now,
these guys on telly, and then you're right next to them.
Watching Rangers and Celtic in that here is just different.
Mental,
Different level, because there's a lot of Rangers Celtic fans in Arbroath, but then where's the loyalties lie when they're at Gayfield watching Arbroath? It's a good one.
Yeah.
Mine's was the away game, December, Celtic doing at Celtic Park.
Right.
First day, and it was
The woman Dora scored.
just the whole day. The whole day. I mean, we left here
Was it last
early.
minute or something? Was it the last minute?
With 2-3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
You can. It was just the whole day. You can on the bus with your pals. A wee drink in the pub before you went to work. What I do on the bus? Just a whole party atmosphere. Everybody was buoyant.
Yep.
We get to the pub before the game at 5 ways. You can. They're used to getting Aberdeen, Hibs. I don't think Rangers go to that pub, but they're used to getting all the boys in that area. And we went into the ground, obviously the celebrations, just the whole thing. And to be honest with you, for part of me, for that was how welcome we were made feel by Celtic. I really enjoyed that, and coming home, it was just a great. For me, it's just one of it's what football's about. And also, there was a lot of youngsters with us at that time. That much was bad when I think about it.
But I see what you're saying. That there's no stigma around Arbroath going as an away team somewhere.
Absolutely.
Whereas you're bigger, the Rangers
Nice
Celtic
and
stuff
friendly.
and that. It's just that people will treat that. Oh, Arbroath, they were a great crack. It was a good day, and home and away fans will enjoy that. Whereas obviously the higher levels of football, that doesn't always happen.
Just a
like you
small
say.
thing.
You only get the crap at Montrose. So that's
Where?
You answer any time you're ready, Jay.
I was just letting you boys finish. It's probably 2 for me, and I'll go
It's like you and Smith, and you've got to be twice as good, isn't he?
back a bit, and I want to come forward. So going back, it probably is the old Montrose games. When I was a sort of teenager, they were the big derbies that you looked forward to.
Is that with the old big brown leather bar when you were
So they were all good. I remember going to quite a lot of them with your school pals, or as you were getting older, pals that you went to the pub with and stuff like that. That was all brilliant. And latterly, even though we didn't win the game, that day down in Kilmarnock still, I think was absolutely magnificent.
That's a big day in Arbroath's history. When you think how
going
many
in the
people
stand
travel.
and seeing everybody there.
Oh,
Yeah.
just
The
incredible.
Pyros.
Yeah,
It's mental.
I don't think I'll see anything like that again in my time personally.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think we're lucky to live through that. I think you're absolutely right.
So there you go.
Right, JB, what's your Bobby Lynn question?
Bobby Lynn's
He just made
question.
that up.
No, I've got fans' questions here. We'll just do all the fans' questions while we're on it.
Go for it.
Bobby Lynn sent one of them.
Bobby Lynn, a fan.
So
Like
David
it.
Turnbull has got, what's the toughest match you've played in, and where do you see yourself in the future of darts?
Wow.
Oh, the Twitter.
Aye, I've got a couple for Twitter.
Toughest match, so not, I would say toughest match, but toughest person I've played is Michael Smith. So I've played, like we were saying earlier, I've played a lot of the players, but twice I've been in a semi-final of Pro Tour, and twice I've been battered off Michael Smith, and I kind of stand behind him, and I just know he's going 180, 140, whatever.
So was the Clive Jones or anything like that, no?
Oh, well, back in the day, Clive Jones and Bobby Dahl and that are the Dinker Moise, and they're the boys that I obviously grew up being a young kid, trying to beat, and you just never got close to them. But yeah, Michael Smith's the hardest, the best. I think he's the best, most natural player to play against. He's so good, and I'm glad he won the Grand Slam to get that thing off his back that he's never won a major and he's a bottler, because he's not. He's class. He's a class player. And then what was the second one? Where do
you see yourself in the future of darts?
I don't know.
Holding that trophy in about 2 months.
Aye, holding said up. But I think the 1 year at a time. All I keep thinking about is just keeping my tour card. I was actually having a chat today when we were practicing with you and just talking about what you think you need to do and where you need to be money wise, and what do you do to get to that next level and things. So I've had loads of conversations with Big G as well. Spent 6 hours in the car back from Wolverhampton with him.
Oh, sorry about
just
that.
So it was important. Nah, it was good. I was
Cut me a bonus, it means you and Smith was
thing is,
there.
in the car as well, I was sitting, G's that side and Paul Tosh is this side. So Paul Tosh has been a top football player, and they were just all the way home talking about what can you do just to get that little bit more out of yourself. What can you do to prepare? What can you do to practice? What can you do that you change your routine for a little bit more to make you that bit better? So that was actually a really good car journey home, because it made me come back here and think, wonder what I could do. Could I do that? So I do that.
Yeah,
think about it. Yeah, it was brilliant. And I
changed your darts, did you know?
I've still got the same darts. I've just changed my flights and stems. So my company that sponsors me, Mission Darts Company, big, huge worldwide company. I went to Bolton and they film you. So you practice, and they film you from the back, they film you from the side, they film you angle your darts go in. And the guy already knew. He knew me from the last decade, and he's like, I've been wanting you to come and do this for ages because you're using the wrong stuff.
Right.
And I was like, I've been playing for 30 years with the same thing. It works. He went, it doesn't work. And I use pear-shaped flights. And he goes, tell me another player on the Pro Tour that uses pear-shaped flights apart from Steve Beaton. And I was like, he went, exactly, no one. He says, that's what women use for a bit more speed and power. Right. And I was like,
calm down.
You two always thinking in the gut. Come on.
I was thinking he was calling you a wife.
Well, maybe he was saying I got the wrong equipment. So we've done all this thing. We changed, had loads of different sets out, and we're changing all this stuff. And he went, try these. And it just honestly, it was like 180, 140, 140, 140. And he's like, these are the ones that are going in right. And I've just changed to them, and obviously I got to 2 quarterfinals on the Pro Tour the next 2 days.
Did that help you with Kazoo and stuff, do you think then?
Brilliant, yeah, but all that sort of, the TV, the Grand Slam was right on the back of that as well. So it's only been the last 6-8 weeks that I've done that, and massive. It's made a massive difference. And I was practicing with Peter Wright actually at the Pro Tours, and he was looking at my stuff because he twinkers all the time.
He changes darts
all
during a match.
He changes his darts when he's practicing. He goes away to the table and comes back with different darts, and you're like, so that's getting ready for a Pro Tour event, he does that, and you're like, what you do? But he was saying your darts are going really, really straight through the air and into the board with your new setup, and I was like, okay, that's the boy that tinkers all the time, sort of noticing that there's a change in that. And then a lot of the players have been coming up saying, oh, you've changed. Simon Whitlock's one of them, because he likes to do different things and change things as well. So just like it's that 1%, 2%. If you can do something that even if it's even just in there, making you think that you're doing better, then it's all good. Yeah.
Good. Somebody called Ewan Spoonie Smith has said, what's the best way to turn a kettle on?
Yeah, so that's last year's Ali Pali. He obviously freeloaded for the whole of Ali Pali. We basically made him breakfast, made him dinner, made him his tea, picked him up, got him taxis, got him tickets, got him passes, and he returned nothing. There's not been a single sort of.
He's ungrateful.
I'll take you out to the boatyard and get you a nice steak dinner. Nothing.
They even bought you a pint.
Nothing. Nah.
Well,
terrible. But
I heard that's the reason he quit Dundee United, because he wasn't getting a freebie doing that.
That's come back in time.
It's quite funny, because I reckon I probably made him about 20 cups of tea last year when we were in the house at Ali Pali, and he was always joking about how do you boil a kettle. So it's a bit of a running banter with him, but yeah.
Great question, you. And the last one is from Bobby Lynn. Name 5 darts player to go for a pint with and why.
Right, Dave Chisnell.
Are you going to get 5 though?
Wait,
Because he
I'll-
didn't get 5 when he was asked.
Go to the rest of the interview and I'll get the other 4 by the
Well, I hope so, because Bobby hasn't managed it yet.
Straight away, Dave Chisnell is an absolute superhero. He's brilliant. He's a great guy in the drink as well. So he's number 1. And then 2 guys that I'm always obviously been close with this year. John O'Shea. He's called the Joker, from Ireland, from Cork. He's absolutely mad as a bat. He's crazy and he's just funny. Just funny all the time. Josh Rock, really good friends with him. So the 3 of them. Josh is only a young boy, so I've been on the peeve a few times with him.
So you'll look after him then?
Well, sometimes, but we get in some states. So there's 3 of us. I think, like, I'm not overly friendly with a lot of the top boys, but Gary Anderson and Hendo. So if you're going Scottish, they're 2 people I've looked up to for a long time. So I'd stick them in at 4 and 5, and that would be a decent night out going out with them 5.
Right,
Chizzy, Josh, John. What was the last 2? Gary Anderson and Hendo. And we'll take Bobby out for a pint as well, because his story's about the Mardy with the Dundee boys when he was a youngster. I was maybe in the Mardy at the same time when I was cutting about as well, so I'd enjoy a pint with Bobby. I think Sunday will be good having a. Hopefully he has a few sociables and he gets involved in the day as well.
He'll probably have taken the day off on Monday.
Hopefully, but he was talking about he had the cold last week.
He's no.
So he was off work, and I was on night shift that night, and I was like, Bobby, you can't leave the bins full in Dundee because the lobby getting set on fire the night, and I'm on duty. So then he was giving it, no, you'll be all right.
Loads of firemen and the binmen didn't give you a strike at the
You
same
wouldn't believe the
time.
amount of bin. Hey, you wouldn't believe the amount of bin fires in Dundee. It's just a bizarre thing. It doesn't happen in Arbroath.
Were you involved in the big fire?
The Robertsons one? No. I was away playing darts, was I? Somebody
Was
else
that
was
the
in
same time as the
my
darts,
shift
was
was
it?
off actually. My shift never.
Was you involved in the fire up at Eastsheen? That was a while back in 2001, 2002.
Very no. 2000. I joined in 2004. So there you go. So I wasn't. I was offshore.
See with the darts, have you ever, I don't know what you call it, let one slip out or like, I don't know.
What do you mean, fart?
No.
That's Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson and Wesley Harms on the stage.
When it slipped out your
thought
hand
he
by
shit
mistake
himself.
type of thing. Sweaty hands, that type of stuff.
Nah,
really.
you do have sort of. I think you have jittery darts. You kind of or you'll push it or pull it, but nah, it's not. It's quite a small area of. There's not much can go wrong, is it, from here to a dartboard?
I know, it's happened with a golf club, is it not?
Oh, slipped out of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
What with me?
Yeah, I heard sweaty hands and you were at
In,
a driving
in
range.
Cyprus.
Aye.
The boy had to bring it back in the truck. He's out collecting the balls and he come back with the club. It was roasting hot. I'm not used to the weather like that. Went in the practice range and the club went fleeing down the grass. The boy brought it back with the buggy. Oh, when did I tell you that? Somebody else must have told you that.
We've got a research
Amanda.
team. We've got a research team.
Amanda, you've got a lot to answer for.
We're professional up here.
We know you're not going to sing a song. You don't play for Arbroath, so we're not going to ask you. But we do have our normal quiz. Jamie's a resident quiz master.
You can introduce the quiz.
I'll
Jamie.
introduce the quiz then for you. It's not a problem. Normally, if you've heard it in the past, he shoots, he scores. 5 questions, penalty shootout for yourself. We're going to try and attempt to get a 9 darter out of you tonight. Okay, doke. We're doing it in the style of Mr. and Mrs.
What?
And the way you play, it might be more Mrs. than Mrs.
Oh, good Jane.
Thank you.
With the pear-shaped flights.
I'm here all night. Please try the fish. So anyway, we've got 9 questions. Amanda has helped us with this.
Oh man, this could be embarrassing.
I know.
Hey, who's going to keep
We're
score?
certainly hoping.
I'll keep scoring. I've got my
Fermer's a
score master today.
score master. Jamie's a quiz master.
Right, here we go.
Some money later then.
Start 1. What is Amanda's nickname?
Smurf.
Ooh.
Or are we getting Smithy?
Boom.
Nah, she's got 2.
We'll give you. Oh, maybe got
We get a
3.
bonus point
maybe
for
got 3 or
Smurf.
4.
We'll game one.
The
We'll get one.
wee blonde Smurf.
After wire.
You get 1.
No, it's in.
Aye, well, that's 1.
Right. What was the first movie you went to see with Amanda?
Oh no.
And I'll give you a clue. It
I'll
was
be
2007.
Well, that doesn't help.
Well, there you go.
2007. How does she even know that?
She's a woman.
Because she's a woman.
She also said you fell out that night. And you were in the ring.
Was it a military one? I can't remember.
And she apologised first.
Oh man. I couldn't even take a stab in the
No,
dark
I
at that.
think this
Go
is
for
I think
Jurassic Park or something like that.
Will Smith is in this.
Yes.
Yeah, Will Smith was in it. Give me
Yeah,
a clue.
You're getting your dart butt again.
I know.
It slipped out your hand like
Definitely, it's not Men in Black or something like that. We didn't watch that. I Legend.
Boom.
Oh, what a result.
Whoa, pulled that out.
What a result.
Pocket.
Only because you gave me the clue.
Yeah. Dart 3, when is your anniversary?
Oh no! 7th of July.
What year?
Every year, probably.
Hey!
15 years.
Yep. Dart
180!
Yes! You wanted to do that.
Yeah, but the bad thing is you had to
You
write
better
60,
start
60, 60. So you knew how much it was.
You better start doing the finish at the bottom.
Oh, what's that like?
60, 18.
Depends what way you're going for the 141.
Sorry, well,
There's three. They were tough questions.
Question 4. Where was your first holiday together?
Oh, perfect. Vegas. New York, Vegas. First time she'd ever been on a flight.
Nice.
No way.
Went to Vegas, 14 hours. She's
Wow.
never been on a plane before. So there's,
Cool.
did I get an extra point for that?
No, it's 60. Look at 60 with that.
No. What is Amanda's favourite meal? Oh, that's a toughie.
There's loads. I'm going to say fillet steak with dolphin mashed potatoes.
Can't believe this.
Tell you.
Right.
At the boatyard, is it?
Boat, yeah, but you can make it at home as well.
Can't mock the noise of the crowd, but it's.
Dart 6. Who is Amanda's favourite Arbroath player?
Oh man. Well, he's left. He might still be here then. She liked Jason Thompson, but let's go for. Man.
No, they want a clue because I'm going to look at the finish.
She wouldn't know mine. That's what I'm thinking here, but let's go with
You wouldn't know mine.
Shanks. Even though he doesn't get a game. She's
We've
like,
talked about him quite a lot.
Bobby.
Yes.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, John!
You
You
sound really
Wait a minute.
disappointed.
Bobby's everybody's favourite though. That doesn't
So
really
why did you
count.
not guess that?
Damn it. I think I redeemed it. No.
Have we blown it in?
I would game it because, I mean, to be fair, I mean, Bobby's Abdi's favourite.
He's everyone's favourite. He's a
I-
legend. He's a legend.
So he got it on what was that, third guess? third guess, because did we go JT, then Shanks, and then Bobby Lent?
And he still gets it.
Well,
Still get it.
wait, JT's not here anymore. But I think that was our favourite player. She liked him. He's
180!
Oh, wild. It's a big finish. It's a
It
big
doesn't matter. So what's the finish?
Oh man.
You call it your score here, but because
Right.
she's got to go for it now.
First
See?
one's got to be a treble 20. So
Right,
this is,
Treble 20. What is the most romantic thing you've done for Amanda?
oh man.
Went to work.
got her that season ticket.
Man. It depends what she says to this. Most romantic.
Yeah, it's her that gave us the
Yeah,
answer.
that's true actually.
No, but like what I think it is might be
That's
something
Mr.
different.
and Mrs.
what
that
she
used to see if you match. That's the whole thing.
Derek, what's his name? Would Celtic the
Huh?
same? What was Derek's last name? That's not a question, by the way. What was his name again?
Amanda wouldn't know that.
No.
Oh
That's his stock answer. I can't mind. H. Does it begin with an H?
Derek.
Now she gave us 2 answers, but
Oh, right.
ish.
Do you know what? I never buy her flowers, so just buying her flowers would be romantic, but it wouldn't be that. Amanda's a very family people person, so.
Do you want a clue?
Aye.
You did it and it didn't happen.
He did it and it didn't.
For her 40th birthday, trip to Rome. There you go, treble 20.
There you go.
Organise a full trip to Rome. Had everything, because I know
Okay.
a lot of Italian guys, Italian dart players, they organised the whole trip for me. So we had everything planned for a weekend for a 40th, and then
Well, that's how you
COVID.
did it, but you didn't.
COVID.
Yeah,
knackered
see?
that, so.
You did something else.
Come on,
did you not?
Fermer.
Okay, what you got now?
Did you not get a whole hour's video for her?
Oh, that.
That was the second one.
I wouldn't have called that romantic though. Man, it's pretty cool.
Oh, she
It's
loved
a-
it.
I know, it's quite cool.
Women,
So
man.
I started
MVG, you know,
watching it
every
this
single
morning.
player gave her a wee. Every single player in the world gave her a birthday message. I put it in a video. It was pretty cool. MVG and that old Gary, brilliant. It was cool, but I didn't think that was romantic. It was cool.
What you got now?
Right, so this is controversial because most people go treble 19.
Well,
but
I've written it down, you better change it.
I'm going 45 here.
Oh,
I'm going treble 15. Because I've
yeah.
changed my setups to go for double 18.
Double 18.
So treble 15, double 18.
Fair a bit like
18's your favourite.
Couldn't have.
It is just now, I've changed to that, so people will go, why are you going that way? But
Dark seed.
here we go.
Only problem is
Pressure's on.
if you miss a double 18,
Right,
the 9, it's a bad finish.
For the triple 15, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, for 45.
Who has been Amanda's favourite guide dog to train?
That's a very good question, by the way. I like that question.
Well, it's Quando.
Correct!
The first one, and he passed. So we've only had 2 pass. Pete was an assistant's dog, so...
What's your favourite?
Oh man, Disco's very good.
There you go, yeah. That's it, what she said as well.
Disco's very, very good. And very cuddly little dog, she was great. So,
Now you're on
So
double
we're on-
18.
What's your
We're on
double 18?
Double 18
Nine
for a
darter.
9 darter.
18's like...
Wait a minute,
I can't even shout it out here yet.
before this 9 darter goes in, do you get a pin badge for it? 'Cause you get a pin badge.
Going in, by the way.
This is guaranteed, isn't it?
I'll give you a task pin badge.
Here we go.
So
Right.
for a task pin badge.
Double 18 for a 9 darter. Are the crowd going to go wild? There's 3 of them.
And I'd buy you
Aye, yeah, they will.
I'd
They
buy you
will.
drinks.
But if you miss it, I am sure
bands,
Scotland get battered everywhere they go.
You didn't get banging.
Soutar gets battered everywhere he goes.
So double 18. Name one of Amanda's 2 favourite dart players.
Johnny Clayton.
Boom! Straight in there.
Come on!
What's the other one?
Fucking Alan Soutar.
Gary?
Correct.
Duck it out, I swore.
I thought you'd have said Clive Jones again, but didn't.
Actually,
Well
to be fair, in fairness to you, Alan,
Tell you what, I've done alright there.
oh, you
did
did.
well.
You're the best we've ever had on. And,
That was pretty cool.
and I'm going to put my hat off the Father. I've got the questions. But that's a lot of good questions.
Cheers, Fermer. Thanks for that.
I wish you would.
Do you know what? She's kept that quiet as well because she's been
She
really quiet
absolutely
today.
played
She's
a
been
blinder.
quiet today about it.
Do you know what? She sent me. We've been trying to get a catch up, and then it was like, oh no, I'm away this weekend, and then I was away, and then it was like it was going to be yesterday. She went, oh, Alan's off. We just couldn't get it. I went, I'll send you them, and so we'll be going backwards and forwards, and the poor girl had to send them twice because something went wrong with the emails and things like that, and she was. She played a blinder. Thank you, Amanda.
I'll tell you, man, the great questions. I'll tell you the other thing. Quando, what a name for a dog, eh?
Aye.
Quando.
Mad.
That's
See,
a-
when
that's
What
a
does that
cracking name.
stand for?
There's just it was all Q's, wasn't it?
Right.
So his letter was. That was actually a good name because there was Queenie, Quasar, imagine being down the park shouting Queenie. Doing the Vicky Park shouting on the Queenie.
When we were last pups, wife made me to go out at night with him, and you're supposed to get a signal to mum, so I had to go out and say, come on dog, pee pee, come on for a pee pee. I'm a grown man standing out in the middle of the street going, come on, pee pees, pee
Well,
pees.
that's the command. That's you train the dog to pee and poo, and you say busy, busy. So that's when you tell them to go outside. You go busy, busy. So that's when people see you like, but that's the command, and they go on busy, busy. So that's what you do.
Quando's a song.
Aye, Quando.
You can just imagine,
Then
you
go
can
back
just
humper
picture the scene. The guide dog is standing at the traffic lights, and the boy comes up, fit like you did, Jamie.
Very busy.
Oh, busy, busy.
You know what? I know you said you weren't going to do a song, but because Amanda's done so well, and her favourite dog's Quando, I think you should
Quando.
sing it.
I don't know the words.
It's Quando.
Well done, Jamie's done it for you. I told you, my music's got no words. It's just hardcore Dutch trance. So there's no words in it. It's just banging.
Set me free.
Exactly that one. That's got words.
Alan, thank you so much for participating in that. Amanda, as we've said it, thank you very much. Before we finish, Fermer, are you got a rant or a love-in for us?
I've got a love in. I've genuinely my favourite podcast tonight. Listen to Alan Soutar. I've fair enjoyed it. Actually loved it. So it's a love in. I've not got nothing else to say regarding that. I genuinely. He's a lot of the questions, answers, stuff I've able to take in, and I hope folk enjoy it as much as I have. I've genuinely enjoyed it, and he's not a bad lad. I'm quite hot. In fact, I'm delighted. Really enjoyed it.
Good, I've enjoyed it as well. Alan, thank you so much for taking the time to come down. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, and most importantly, all the best for Ali Pally from us here, and I'm sure everybody in the town and at the club as well will be watching you however many times we get to watch you over the next wee while, and we'll not only see you on Sunday, we'll see you on the 23rd and do a little bit of celebrating for Christmas.
Definitely. Thanks, guys.
All the
Cheers.
best.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sootz.
Thanks again everybody else. Good night, God bless. We'll see you Well, Friday this time.
Friday,
Under the
yeah.
lights.
Under the lights.
Good night. Take care.